righty. Ooh, where's my cursor? There it is. Okay, friends, we're ready to go. This is our second workout of week E for those of you who are here with me this summer 2024 for Skyline College. I will not be Zooming on Monday, but I will be Zooming on Tuesday, so have fun with your finals on Monday. Everything for this class is due next Friday, so a week from this Friday is the last day for anything to be turned in. And for today, we're going to be doing yields, but we're also going to try and do as many pose title reviews as we can. So that means it'll be sort of a weird combo of moving quickly and also getting a lot of things in, yeah? So just to start out with my most common reminders for safety in this class, your knee tendon and your second toe need to always be pointing in the same place. And that means when we're in a lunge, especially, we don't want our knee to be turning in while the knee's hoisting forward, right? So if we're in Warrior 2, it's knee and toe together. Warrior 1, that back leg is out at a 45-degree angle, front leg is forward, knee and toe together. High lunge, knee and toe would be parallel, so everything's on this line right here. Lower back safety is always going to be that we want to drop the tailbone to point down at the center of the earth, and that means we're going to slightly engage our abdomen to lift the front of your pelvis so that those headlamps aren't pointing down towards the ground, but they're pointing straight forward. Those headlamps meaning your PCIS, your hip bone. Yeah, we don't want it to be pointed down. Look at that arch in the back. We want to be engaged lightly through the abdomen. For our shoulders, the shoulder girdle is this diamond that rests on top of our rib cage, right? And we want the shoulder girdle to be right on top of your rib cage, whereas when we're slouching, then the shoulder girdle tends to slide forward. So we're going to be centering our shoulder blades back to get that shoulder girdle diamond of your shoulder blades and collarbones to bounce right on top. And our chin, we don't want to leave it chin poked. We want to be drawing the jaw back. So 1.5 chins, and we have a nice radiated long neck lining right up with the crown of the head. All right, friends, let's go ahead and sit down for a quick breath. Big breath in. And we have not done very much pranayama or breath work in these Zooms this semester. But the one breath that we have talked about is in through the nose and out through the mouth. And because I tighten my throat just slightly on the exhale to slow down that breath, it makes that sound like the ocean. And that breath is called Ujjayi breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Go ahead and rest forward. Rolling on up with the inhale. Exhale to the side. See if you can keep continuous Ujjayi breath. Drop those shoulders behind you. Hands, whenever they hit the floor, Fingertips are forward, elbows are back. Option to lift the hips as you spread the chest. Inhale to radiate and support. Exhale to yield and soften. Exhale, switching your feet. Floating down like a leaf. Trying to extend your exhale all the way till you meet the floor. Pressing your thighs into the floor and your shins and feet as you radiate and center the back to come to that diagonal back and find your breath. Next inhale will take you all the way up to vertical. Exhale, twisting to your left. In our spinal twist, we keep the whole spine vertical. So we're trying not to let the shoulder supersede the twist of the spine. We're going to twist just like a unicorn horn, straight up in the air. Let your chin and your eyeballs stretch all the way to the back of the room. And inhale, up center. Exhale, other side. Your next inhale is going to pull you back to the center. And take those elbows back again. Press it up. Exhale, slide it down. We're going to slide our legs forward. Big breath in. And forward fold. Softly bending at the hips towards your toes. This is a regular forward fold. We can do it here on the floor. We can do it standing. Forward fold is also referred to sometimes as West pose. And I remember that mostly by thinking that in the West, we touch our toes a lot. And when we lift our arms up and swing them back and do basically an inverse plank, it's the East pose. Go ahead, take those hips down, and we're gonna rock our way up. Forward fold standing. Go ahead and walk it. Soften those knees, press the floor away and roll on up. Go ahead and bring your legs together. Centering through those thighs, gently lifting the belly in and dropping that tailbone down to the earth. Shoulder blades are settled down like wings on your back. And we're just going to stand here, evenly balanced in both feet. This pose is called the mountain, and we often do the mountain with namaste hands. Namaste, the word, is a form of greeting, both formal and informal, but the word itself breaks down etymologically into I honor what is special and honorable in you. And we say to each other often in classes at the beginning and end of class as a way of expressing gratitude for how we can teach each other, teacher to student and student to teacher. But that's really a Western appropriation. People just say namaste when you're seeing your grandma and grandpa in India. So we're starting to shift away from doing that in class and making it all woo-woo. The making of it woo-woo is the part that is appropriative. Go ahead and soften those knees from your forward fold and step back with your right leg. Looking underneath yourself, both feet are pointing straight forward. Your back leg's knee is pointing down or straight, depending on how you think about it. That's a high lunge. Big breath in. You're going to drop that back knee down to the floor and come on up. That's a low lunge. Hips squeeze and thighs squeeze to the center line for your balance. Drop your shoulders, feel that crescent arm. Then exhale, take that flow back down to your high lunge. Go ahead and let yourself rock gently forward and back if you're feeling a little tight here like I am. And when you're ready, squeeze to those center lines, press support into your feet, lift up through your belly and your back thigh to press up into your full high lunge. And then yield those hips back down, keeping the pelvis square. Big breath in. Exhale, taking your palms to the mat. We're going to step the front leg back and we're going to go into our, you can come down to modified plank here, but we're going to go into our Chaturanga Vinyasa. Vinyasa means flow. Chaturanga is the first thing we do after our plank or modified plank. Chaturanga is when your elbows are by your ribs and you're halfway down to the floor. Chaturanga. From Chaturanga, we go down to the mat. We inhale up to either baby cobra, full cobra, or even if you keep lifting your belly up until your knees hover, upward facing dog. Add on back through Chaturanga if you'd like an extra sassiness, and we press back up to downward dog from there. So again, that was the Chaturanga Vinyasa. Vinyasa means flow. Chaturanga is that pose that we first pass through where your upper arms are in line with your torso, so your elbows are by your ribs. Right leg's gonna come up. And exhale, take it underneath. Go ahead and step through today right away. So now we're in our right high lunge. Rocking back and forth. I'm going to drop my hips and I'm going to revolve my torso so I'm spiraling from the base of the spine. I'm still taking this hip down to keep this a square right angle. But I'm going to revolve my rib cage into that thigh and squeeze my thigh against the body. Good, friends. Go ahead and take your hands down. Your back foot's your springboard. Step together to come back to your forward fold. Inhale up to flat back. Exhale, soften. Inhale up. And we'll repeat the sun salutation on your left side. Opening the chest first. Still with a vertical pelvis, we're leaning up above that. Chin to chest anytime we come back out of a back bend. Exhaling down. Inhaling up, flat back. Centering your shoulder blades. Exhale, settle down. Left leg's coming back. Go ahead and take it down to low lunge for me. Square by pulling your thighs together to that center line. Opening the hip. Breathing in. Yield those shoulders. Pulling the forward leg hip back into your body and tucking that tailbone underneath. So the flexibility needs to come from the hip socket rather than smashing the lower back. Exhaling forward. Square your foundation. Tuck that back leg. Lift up through the back thigh. And step back to your plank. Lots of abs in any plank you're in. Knees can be on the ground. Come down to Chaturanga for Chaturanga Vinyasa and to the floor. Up to your arch. And back down to the floor. That's your Chaturanga Vinyasa. Shake that head out, release it. Roll your shoulders back if you're feeling shoulder tension. Let's examine hands. Pointer fingers are both forward. Only shoulder width apart. Wrap those elbows down. Weight should be just slightly more in your feet. And left leg's gonna lift. And step on through today. Low lunge. Center through your shoulder blades, your belly lock, your thighs, and then rotate towards that forward thigh. Hip's gonna go down to stay square, but I have to squeeze the thigh in as I rotate my rib cage and heart into that thigh. And yield the hips. This is a good place to check that your knee is staying over your ankle, does not pass the ball of the foot, and knee and second toe are both pointing the same direction. Lovely, friends. Come on back down. Pushing off the back foot, dropping the head. Inhale, takes you flat back. Exhale, soften. And back up. Finding your heart in your mountain pose. Here we go, right side. This time we're going to do our sun salutation through warrior one. Up to flat back and down. We're going to step back with the right leg, and then we're going to take that right leg and rotate it from facing knee to the floor to being just 45 degrees turned out. Boosh. The whole foot is on the floor. The knee and toe are pointing the same way. So the outside of your underbutt has to work that thigh to rotate the thigh out. And then your rest of your body has to wrap your hip back in as you come up. So thigh is rotating out, but hip is rotating forward. Your back heel is trying to sweep around behind you, and that's part of what squares the hips. Open those arms. One big circle for fun. Listening to your knee, making sure your back knee and toe are pointing the same direction. We're going to exhale all the way down. Change the back foot. Boop. Step through. Chaturanga Vinyasa. On your knees is very welcome. I would much rather see your improvement grow more quickly and safely by passing through a modified plank than by your shoulders being shrugged up in that Chaturanga Vinyasa, because we're not ready yet. So please put those knees down so you can develop your upper body strength rather than letting your ego tell you to put your knees up because that's what it looks like. It's not how it looks on your body, and your body's what's important. Big breath. Right leg up. Open the hips for fun. Take a free moment to explore and play with your thigh wherever you want to go. 3 breaths. Try and keep the weight even in both hands. And coming back to square 3-legged dog, tucking it through. Good. Turning your back leg out to warrior one. And let's just look underneath ourselves. Leave yourself down here on the thigh. Warrior one. Back to high lunge. Warrior one thigh. And high lunge. One more time. Warrior one, the knees out at 45 degrees in the back, but the hips are still square to the front. Staying there, we're gonna swoop up. We're gonna take our arms to reverse namaste. Woo, tricky. Now, if you're really super tight, you're maybe just gonna reach our fingertips. Maybe touch our fingertips together. I'm gonna turn. Maybe you can creep them up. Get the pinkies lined up and press your palms together behind your heart. And then roll those shoulders back and sit up tall. And then your booty probably went back in the process of getting it there. So we're gonna use our core to get a vertical pelvis again. Finding that balance between the effort it takes to get your back leg spiraled out and the effort it takes to get your pelvis up. Squeezing your heel to the center line. Release those hands. Change to high lunge. Push off to step through. Exhale, forward fold. Woo. Inhale up. Exhale down. Passing up to the other side. Exhale down through forward fold, up through flat back. Exhaling down. And your left leg's gonna step back into high lunge and then change to warrior one. Re-squaring those hips. Coming on up. Down to the floor. Chaturanga Vinyasa. Some people do chaturanga from your cobra directly into your downward dog, but that tends to make people do like this dolphin dive. And so I give us an extra push up so that you're definitely engaging your core and keeping your shoulders back, please, on the way up to your downward dog. Shoulders slide back, down the back. Walk your dog if that feels good. Go ahead and lift that left leg up and step through. And change your back foot. So you're in warrior one knees. And hands around to reverse namaste. Now, use your abs to bring yourself back to that upright torso. Try to relax and yield in your shoulders. Supporting down through the floor, centering to square your thighs. Release those hands, stepping together. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, soften and bring it back up. Good job, guys. Coming back to center. We're going to take our right leg off the ground and turn it out. Dropping that hip down, bring our center line over the toe. Find your tree. Bus stop A for the tree is on the floor. B is on the ankle. C is on the calf. No pressure sideways on a knee at any time. No pressure sideways on a knee at any time. Go ahead and lift that leg up and tuck it in. Belly's in. So I'm lifting my hip bones to point forward. I'm going to soften my shoulders to the back by centering. And your drishti, which is your focal point, your drishti is your focal point, is straight ahead in the tree pose. Arms can be above the head, you can make branches, you can do a cactus, you can do namaste arms, tree is a standing pose with one knee turned out to the side. Go ahead and unhook it. Let's come to the other side. Standing on that right leg, turning your left leg out. Tree, bust up A, toes are still on the ground. B, onto the ankle. C, calf, no pressure, sideways on the knee again. D is up here. Remember, I want my belly button, my center line, to actually be over the heel that I'm standing on here. So I'm definitely not letting my hip hike up and kind of leaning my body away from this tree. I want to find the spot right here in the middle where I can balance my belly button over the center of the foot. Stomach's engaged, thighs opening, finding my drishti. And soft, smooth, even breath. Balance is controlled up in the hip, the placement of the hips. Your foot can feel soft, like it's spreading on the floor. Unhook. Go ahead and soften those legs out for a second. We're going to take our abs in first, yeah? And I'm going to bring my chest just a little bit forward before I start the star. I'm going to take this pelvis and I'm going to tip it to its side. Arms and legs can be just slightly in front of the body as you go to your star, radiating out. So I'm centering in the core, but everything else is going out. Radiate through the top crown of your head. Come back center. Soften it down. And find that looseness again. And energy in, energy out. And come on home. And soft. We're going to do the eagle pose next. You can hold on to a wall if you like. Everything in the eagle pose wraps together. This is an eagle sitting on a mountaintop, ready to jump off after whatever it sees down below. So we're going to go ahead and step on your left leg. Bring that right leg up. Cross as high above the thigh as you can. Left knee and toe are pointing straight forward. They're going to bend to catch that thigh. Squeeze those legs together. Top leg is bottom arm, crossing above the elbow and bending both. Then I wrap my thumb or my fingertips around the base of my thumb, and then I pull my belly back in, shift my shoulders over my hips, and drop down. Everything centers in this one. Eagle arms can rise. And if you fall, just reset. Good, release your eagle. Other side. Remember, first things first, your knee and toe need to be pointing same direction straight forward before we set all that weight on top of it. So now left leg's gonna come on top. Right knee bends over the ankle. Top leg is bottom arm, crossing above the elbow, bending both elbows. Bringing your belly in, your shoulders back, your elbows up, and sinking down. Good, unfurl that eagle. One but I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save our spider for a hot second. Let's come to the front of your mat. We're gonna take our breaths in. We're gonna drop our shoulders, engage our ribs, drop our tailbone, and send your left foot back to balancing stick, otherwise known as warrior 3. Yeah, straight back leg, straight body, teeter totters forward, warrior 3. Full expression is flat. Sweep those arms back behind you, look up with the chest, and bend your front leg, swan. You can do the swan with reverse namaste arms too, but let's instead step back to high lunge and open the whole torso to come to warrior 2. Yes, warrior 2 is vertical torso, open to the side of the room relative to the front of the knee. Yes? Down here in your feet, the front leg and the back foot, they're at 90 degrees, yes? Perpendicular, front foot and back foot. And the heel of the front foot, if you drew a line, it would meet the ankle, the arch of the back foot. Back leg is straight, front leg is bent. Beginning version of this pose, it's just a little bent. You're trying to one day get to knee and toe straight forward with your knee over your foot and a 90-degree angle in that front leg. Woo-wee! Your booty goes back when we learn this, yes? So the challenge here is to get that torso back to vertical in the lunge. Arms for warrior 2 go straight to the sides. I'm using a lot of abdominal strength to stay here and opening this front thigh. Drishti for warrior 2 is out past the front hand with your eyes on the horizon. Roll those shoulders back. Sometimes they get really tired and start to roll up. Okay, we're gonna challenge that lunging thigh. Big breath in. We're gonna tip back to our crescent pose. Keep that front thigh working hard. Big breath in. We're gonna bring the elbow down to the side angle pose. Now in side angle, I'm taking my hand, making one line. Hand, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, back foot. I gotta keep revolving everything and bringing this bottom hip, which tends to go out behind you, pull it underneath you, open that front knee to get that one line. Your drishti for this pose, if you'd like to know, no one's gonna ask you, is to that inner elbow. Good. Hopefully you can feel your front thigh. If you're not feeling your front thigh after 3 poses in a row, I invite you to take a wider lunge. Stretch it straight. It should be a nice feeling of bliss. Walk your back foot in. And if it's not giving you that feeling of like release and relief, then it just means you weren't quite at your edge today, right? Playing a little small, and that's okay, especially if you're protecting something in your body that you need to give a little bit of a break to. So for triangle pose, our next pose, I bring my back foot back a little bit and turn square for you. My whole torso is flat. Knee and toes are still 90 degrees from each other, and the torso is going to try and tip over from the hip sockets, not from the waist. Yes, so come on up, bring your feet closer together, and let the hips really tip. Yeah, again, this one slides back, so we're pulling that hip underneath us by engaging our abdomen. Big stretch in the outside of that hip there. You can put your weight anywhere that is not your knee. So you can put it on your thigh, you can put it on your shin, on your ankle, on a brick is a really great place to put it. And we're gonna revolve the torso. Your drishti for the triangle pose that we're in is, there's 3 options. You can look up at the sky, you can look straight forward, you can look down at the mat. All of them are correct. Good job. All right, we're gonna soften the knees to drop our hips. And I'm gonna shift my weight back over this leg that was straight. Whee! And lick it up and grab my thigh for bus stop 1 of spider. And in spider, my leg looks, I know in the video it looks like it's flat, but it's really at about 45. Bus stop 2. 3, 4, peace sign fingers around the toe. Bus stop 5, spider. You know what's working really hard in the spider? This butt. That butt is what keeps me upright instead of falling backwards into my butt. That said, let's go to the front of the mat again. Big breath in. Exhale, find your center. Take a breath. Lengthening through the front of your hip sockets. Bring your ribs just a moment forward, shoulders down, and we're going to take that leg back. The one that was just in the air is going back. Through warrior 3. Hips are square here. If one hip is lifted, it's going to be very hard to do the next transition. Arms go back. Chest comes up, gaze is up. Knee and toe stretch forward. Reach through that back leg to balance your swan. And step back. And open up to your warrior 2. Opening that knee, so knee and toe are straight forward. Back leg is perpendicular to the front. Arms are trying to be over both feet one day. Now my hands are a little past my feet, right? Shows me one day I might get a longer lunge. We'll see about that. I've had a longer lunge. Maybe now this is my lunge, and that's cool too. But my gaze is going to be forward. I'm going to keep on engaging those abdomens, get my tailbone to go down, opening both thighs, radiate. Knee over ankle if you can in the front. Scoop it up. Looking in my elbow for crescent. Keep pulling my forward leg hip into alignment, into that same plane. And up again to warrior 2. And elbow to front leg for side angle. Keep pulling that bottom hip underneath and let it crease. Let that hip crease. In some practices, you can release the head here. Good. Bring it back up. And press the floor away. Heel toe your back foot in closer. So you have slack in the hip sockets for your triangle pose. Now I like to teach the triangle pose in 2 parts. Part 1 is not touching, so we're just working on this torso strength to tip a long vertical torso forward. Brick can be right here when we do release into it, and that means that this guy gets to release. So first it's like supporting and I'm thinking about abs, and then when I find anywhere that's not my knee to place my hand down, I'm gonna release that into a big stretch. So then it becomes more of a leg stretch, but I'm still maintaining that square T-shaped torso. Good, good, good. I'm going to soften my knees to come back up, just give my tendons a little break. I'm going to shift my weight back to the standing leg. Standing leg is pointing forward. This leg is pointing to 45. Bus stop A, just to test my balance. Remember, I'm extending and radiating, root to rise, so I'm sending effort down through this standing leg. Even / especially if I bent it to grab my other leg, I want to re-engage through that standing leg. Good. Bending it. Taking it back to center. Big breath in. Heels together, knees together, matching. Take your tailbone back. Awkward chair. Knees do not pass the toes. Straight forward. Stomach's in. It's back there somewhere in that chair. Where is it? It's back there. Good. Go ahead and drop your hips, shift forward, let your heels rise, and just drop your head here in this squat, letting your knees and your ankles and your calves stretch. Release the head and neck. Good. We're going to open our legs, and I stepped my feet just slightly apart, so my heels now are about hip bone width apart. Yeah? Knees and toes are still pointing the same direction, and I'm going to use that centering feeling slightly to pull my heels forward and open my legs for Malasana. And this is really quite challenging for some people. You can do one hand on the floor and reach. Really nice hip opener, side of the body opener. And I'm really fighting to open my thighs while I'm squeezing my heels towards each other. Go ahead and switch sides. I like to think about rooting down through one hand and reaching up to the skies. This is the earth pose. Mala, goddess earth. Good, go ahead and take your hands down. Let your knees come in a little bit and get up onto your tippy toes and see if you can lift your inner thighs to the back of those elbows. I'm gonna walk my elbows in a little bit more and squeeze everything in, curl my body up, and shift forward to crow. Now you don't have to get your feet off. Just put some weight into those arms and feel that feeling of needing to center those arms and take some weight on the back of them. Good. Pressing back, fall onto your butt. Whee! Slide out those legs. Drop your head in the middle. 3 more breaths right here, letting those inner thighs stretch out. Good. Taking one leg on top of the other, crossing all the way, sitting up tall, leaning over. This is the bottom of the cow face pose. Inhale, leaning up. Use your centering to squeeze those legs together. It's okay if they look like a big jumbled pile of sticks. You're still in it. Sitting up tall, top leg is bottom arm. Swing the thumb down behind yourself, grab your shirt. Other arm's gonna go around the top. Stay seated upright. Tap yourself on the back. Resist the temptation to bend over to make room for your hand to get through. It actually brings your hands further apart. See how that takes my hands further? If I sit up taller, I have a better chance of grabbing both hands. Cow face pose. Squeeze those thighs and release. Take your hands underneath, knees in, and slide your legs down. Lift that back up through the rib cage. Support your neck with your shoulders for fish pose. Chin to chest to come out of an arch. Back up. Other side, cow face pose. First stretching the legs. Relaxing over the top. Gather up your body, bottom leg. Top leg is bottom arm, so swing that arm underneath you. And over the top. Grab on if you can, if not, grab your shirt. Find that long torso and yield the shoulders. Centering through the body to help your both hips stay on the ground and your body's reaching up. Release. Unwind those legs. Give it a hug. And tuck our feet underneath. Come to child's pose with your arms in front and your forehead on the mat. Tuck your toes underneath. Crawl your fingertips forward. Open up your chest for that heart opening pose. Use your core to roll back. Point your feet again. Take those hips and tuck them backwards so your belly button is trying to make a plate here for a little ribbon. Victorious pose. Center through your thighs. Keep those pelvises tipped back as you press up. Hands are going to come up and around. Tuck that tailbone for your camel pose. Chin to chest. Seating yourself down again. We're going to take our hands together. Bend them way behind the head. Open up those shoulders. So drop your shoulders down. You can hold hands with yourself behind your head and bring your wrist to your skull, or you can open slightly and bring cupped palms to your skull. Your choice. Both are taught. And just lift up, squeezing your elbows together. You can come off your knees if your knees are uncomfortable here. Feel that feeling of hammering or swinging a clangor against a giant bell. Bong! Yeah, bong! That's the action we're going to use on the floor. Wrapping your fingertips around the opposite elbow. That's the setup for how wide shoulder width the part is. Yes. We're going to place our elbows down on the mat. If you would like to go up next to a wall so the wall can catch you, then you're going to leave just a few more inches, maybe 4 more inches between your hands and the wall. Is that accurate? Yeah. Maybe 3 or 4 inches between the hands and the wall. So elbows are, you can wrap around. Yes, we're going to squeeze those together. We're going to hold hands with ourselves, and we're going to come up to downward dog. Now you're in dolphin pose. Hit the gong with your pinky fingers, so you're pressing evenly from elbows all the way through your pinky fingers, and touch the crown of your head to the mat, close to your hands. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Knees back down. Child's pose again. Open up your armpits. When you're in this position, you can put your forehead on the floor. And from there, let's just have a little sensation moment. Forehead on the floor feels like this. Lift your butt a little bit and feel what it feels like to have your hairline where your tiara goes touch the floor. Yeah, that's not where we want to put weight when we're in an inversion. Crown of the head. If you have a high ponytail, or like me, you have a barrette or a bobby pin right up there on your head, now's the time to move it. Don't let your vanity about your hair cause you to have a neck injury. crown of the head, very center of your head. Yeah? Let's set it up again. I'm going to go against the wall this time, leaving myself a few inches. I'm going to put my knuckles 4 inches from the wall, my elbows shoulder width apart. I'm going to lift my belly lock in, and I'm going to come up into dolphin pose. Then I'm going to walk my hands a little wide, and I'm going to tap my head on the floor right between my hands, making sure it's the crown of the head on the floor, not the hairline. I walk my feet further and further and further out, and at some point your hips rotate enough that your legs, as you open them, they float up. Keep pressing through those pinkies. Take it back down. Have a little rest. Roll on up. Softly through the neck. Roll those shoulders back again. Remember, we don't want to be up here with our shoulders clenched. So if you're feeling clenchy, that means we gotta do a little more for alignment. So shoulders down and back. Stick your chest out a little bit. Squeeze those elbows forward. Long neck. All right, one more time. Up into your wide angle dolphin pose. Placing my hands, placing my head, lifting my center, pulling my shoulders back, up to my dolphin, walking my feet wide, shoulder blades engaged down the back, and extend my legs. Fall on out. Come back to your child's pose. Walk your hands down and forward, and then creep forward to that heart opener again. Slide front. Press up. Take a moment of rest. Big breath in, and turn the head the other side, and rest. Bring your forehead center. We're going to start thinking about lifting our belly up and lengthening our tailbone towards our heels, pulling those heels together. We're going to move into the locust. Yeah, so when I say lift your belly up, I mean first your muscles, belly button to the spine, tailbone down to the heel, the lower back rises, and the pressure goes into the tops of the thighs here rather than the pressure in the belly. Yeah, so I'm trying to lift this middle part up of my body. Even if there's flesh on the floor, you can still lift the musculature and lengthen that lower back. So your lower back rises. I'm going to take my arms around, and I'm going to roll my shoulder blades together and try and grab an imaginary ball behind my butt. Legs together. Lift the waist up again. Chin to chest, your head rises. Shoulders back. Come up to your locust, feet on the floor this time. More back. Chin is tucked. You're looking at the mat still. You're not looking straight forward. Option to lift the legs. If you feel it in your lower back, please put your legs back down and re-engage your stomach and get more back and core strength first before we lift our legs. Locust. Bzzz. I'm gonna eat your grain. And release it down and rest. Go ahead and take your left heel to your left hip and grab it with your left hand. Or if you can't quite reach that foot, you can grab your pants or wrap a towel or a strap around it at the ankle to help you grab it. Pull it right into your buns. Most of us grab the ankle to the side of the body, which is okay, but you want to bring it back in line. So heel next to your hip socket means that you're keeping your knee in alignment and not torquing your knee. Go ahead and release. Find the other one. So I'm really bending my body to reach it, and then I'm going to use my core strength to come back center. Shoulders are up to get to it. Lifting my lower back if I can, so I'm engaging the abdomen. Good. Go ahead and grab both. Notice how I opened my legs for easy access to both. Yeah? So now I'm going to bring them back together. Lift my belly into my spine. Squeeze my thighs together. Lengthen my tailbone. An option to push your feet into your hands to lift that chest to upward bow. And release. All the way down. Use your hands. And child's pose is the opposite of your bow pose, which is what we just did, or the wheel. Go ahead and slide up. One last time into the bow pose. Yeah, it's the bow, not the upward facing bow. The upward facing bow that we did last time where your hands are on the floor is also called the wheel. I think that's right. Slide on back down. Yeah, it's okay if you're just grabbing your pants right now. Ooh. If you're right here, the booty starts up when we're learning to do this pose, yeah? So your job in bus stop A is to press your hips down into the mat and try and curve like a cat, yeah? Curve like a cat. Thighs together. Curve like a cat. Chin nods, shoulders work. Pressing the legs. And release. And child's pose. Go ahead and take those knees in child's pose and scooch them apart. Wide angle. We call it wide angle whether you're standing or in your knees, but wide angle. Wide angle child's pose. And I think it's really comforting and releasing for me to sort of sway my hips a little bit. You know that feeling of like a cat pushing one foot and the other? Yeah, I'm doing that with my hips in this pose. I'm really pressing back into them to open the hip sockets. Be respectful of your knees. Knees and toes pointing the same direction, so my weight is definitely on the top of the big toe bones. Walk our hands back in. Draw those knees in to come down onto your back for bridge. And after bridge, we'll go directly into Shavasana. So we'll do our little bridge rocks. And slowly morph into Shavasana from there. So remember, when we're doing a bridge pose, we'd like to have our feet aligned with our hips. One toe can touch the other pretty easily. We're using a little bit of inner thigh strength, centering, to help ourselves keep our balance. And for good posture of the knees. Yeah, so knees and toes are aligned rather than twisting. And we do want to scooch our heels in close and then rock that pelvis. Lower back presses and lower back arches and curves. So cat-cow here on your back, supine cat-cow. Trying to use your core, your abdomen, to get that action to happen, because you can push your butt in the air with your legs, right into the bridge. But we want to isolate the action of curling with our core muscles and then add the hamstrings and the glutes to roll up to your bridge. And roll it back down. Release. One more rock. And back up you go. Thighs gently clinging to your center line. And if you'd like this time, you can take your hands under your butt, give yourself a little push. Or you can walk your hands together and then sneak your upper arms under your armpits and push your pinkies down to really open up into that bridge. This is a bound bridge. Release those arms when you're ready and slowly roll down and take the knees to the chest, supine child's pose, and rest your back. If you'd like to stretch your legs in the air, you can. Open up those hamstrings. Good. Go ahead and take your feet down to the mat. Again, your choice. One more bridge, one more supported bridge. It's up to you. But always beginning with abdominal engagement. First, if you want to check that, you can lift one leg and the other and still stay in that engaged position. Go ahead and roll up into your bridge and tuck your hands underneath. You can tuck and put your palms under your butt. Thighs are still together. You can come up to a shoulder stand. Legs together. And release it down. Knees to your chest, nose and chin straight up in the air. Let everything relax. No fidgets. Just letting the body come back to neutral. And take those feet to the floor. Go ahead and walk them out to the sides. And we're going to have a little windshield wiper with the nose and the knees. And I'm going to get us some nice slow music to close. friends. Hopefully your hips have gotten a little relaxation side to side. We're going to take our hands, palms up, and open them out, allowing your shoulders to unfurl. And you choose whether you'd prefer to knock your knees together or slide out softly down to Shavasana. And come home to your breath. Enjoy your body yielding to gravity. Taking each breath a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, and release. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Feel the empty potential. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath softly, like a delicate bird in your chest. Set it free gently. Feel the open window. Breathing in again, keeping it slow and steady, but making room for quietness.
A big machine, draw pictures for the wall. Hang up on my fragile thoughts, display that you might see. A space, a drop, quiet, the comfort of frailties in me. A space, a drop, a quiet.
yourself come on back to the room and roll to the side. Thank you for joining me. It's always a pleasure to be able to learn from you. And it's always so fun to share your practice. Please let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to practicing with you again in the future.